And the radar is dry this morning after really active conditions yesterday evening. But as we move into this afternoon, oops, I'm on the wrong side of the graphic here. As we move into this afternoon, we will see that scattered thunderstorm threat return. This morning, watching low clouds and humid conditions, and then the radar will get a little bit more active. But this isn't just for today. We're settling into a more unsettled weather pattern, even moving to the beginning of next week. I'll let you know what we're watching in terms of the severe weather threat for today and the full AccuWeather forecast coming up.
Dani.
Yeah, good morning, Tony and Michelle. Got to talk about today's storm chances. The radar is quiet for now. In the first half of your Saturday, we're dealing with some fog. It's humid out there, low clouds, but we're mostly dry, at least through midday. This afternoon, however, we'll see that radar light right back up. Scattered showers and storms expected for the second half of your Saturday. And in general, this is the pattern that we settle into, even for most of next week. So your headlines, humid start with low clouds, scattered storms for second half. Some storms could be strong, potentially severe. We're still looking at the threat for heavy rain that can lead to some nuisance flooding and maybe some damaging wind as well. And get used to it because we stick with this pattern through the rest of the weekend into the beginning of next week. I'll let you know what we're looking at temperature-wise today. The full AccuWeather forecast coming up. And I know for our Friday night, it was awfully active out there. The radar, however, your Saturday morning, much calmer, but it won't remain that way all day long. We start the morning with low clouds, a little bit of fog, and it's awfully humid. But that low cloud cover will lift, offering just a touch of sun for the first half of the day as temperatures make their way to low 80s. Now, the second half of your Saturday, that's when the scattered storm threat makes a comeback. I'll time out today's storm chances and let you know what to expect for the rest of the weekend in the full AccuWeather forecast coming up. Very relatable for many.
Yeah.
Because I know I spend all my days on the couch watching football, so I can't even.
So fun.
But today, you got to get outside at least for the first half and take advantage of the dry weather before those scattered storms start to develop. But it's nice to see some blue sky. Finally, we have been stuck under a layer of low cloud cover for most of the morning, but temperatures warm, and so some of that's starting to burn off. Right now, reading is hazy, little blue sky over the city here, 77 degrees with moderate air quality. Cooling back up to 80 degrees already, so parts of Long Island warming very quickly. West Hampton at 78, same for Merrick, Roslyn at 78 degrees as well. Looking across the tri-state, most of us in the 70s. Newark up to 80 degrees, cooler in Andover, 70 now in Poughkeepsie, and we'll continue to warm up with those sticky conditions. And if we weren't dealing with the low cloud cover this morning, we would have started with sunshine across the board. As we zoom out, however, you can see it looks a little more unsettled, right? Still dealing with that front that's draped across the area, and it keeps that threat for thunderstorm activity in play moving into the second half of the day. And the Storm Prediction Center actually upping our threat for severe weather for north and west of New York City, parts of northwest New Jersey and the lower Hudson Valley now at a level 2 slight risk for severe weather. We're closer to the coastline, level 1 marginal risk. And this just means as the storms start to fire up by late afternoon, early evening, they really do have the potential to be strong and maybe in some cases severe. That means heavy rain that can lead to some nuisance flooding as well as the potentially damaging wind. We saw that last night with the storms. We could have another round of it as we move into this evening. So putting Futurecast into play, already fast forwarding to midday. Most of us are dry, just that mix of sun and clouds, warm and humid. And then after about 3 o'clock, we'll start to see the radar really light up. This through about sunset tonight. So you see those pockets of heavy rain. You can see the scattered thunderstorm activity across the tri-state. Once the sun sets tonight, radar should settle down and we look mostly dry overnight to Sunday morning. Sunday, very similar setup. We start the morning warm and muggy under a mix of sun and clouds, but mostly dry through first half of the day. By tomorrow afternoon and evening, we start to see a few of those scattered showers and storms back in play. Do you want to touch quickly on Hurricane Lee? This is a huge story in the Atlantic and actually weakening, now a Category 3 hurricane, encountering some dry air and upper level wind shear. But remember, the water right here, extremely warm. So after it is forecast to weaken to a Category 2, re-strengthening back to a major hurricane. And now the official track from the National Hurricane Center starting to show hints of that northerly turn. And when and where that happens is really going to dictate what happens to Lee in the long run. Forecast model runs seem like pretty good agreement through about the middle of this coming week. But when and where that turn happens, there's still quite a bit of range. So the eventual track still have a few question marks, but relatively high confidence at this point that it should stay offshore. We're still looking at impacts up and down the East Coast in terms of rip current risk and rough surf for most of next week. We'll keep you updated as the question marks become exclamation points or periods in the next week or so. Today, hour by hour, taking us through the afternoon, warm and humid, temperatures climbing low to mid 80s, but mostly dry. Heading toward late afternoon, early evening, scattered scattered storms develop. Forecast high of 84 degrees and still on the sticky side with a lot of humidity. Tonight, scattered storms continue until about sunset. After that, things settle down, low 70s. And then tomorrow, similar setup. We're just subtracting 3 to 5 degrees across the area, high closer to 80 degrees with the humidity and scattered thunderstorms. Moving into next week, same story, but temperatures a little more seasonable in the 70s. That was a check of your AccuWeather forecast. We'll be right back.